All right, so very often with Excel, we have data and equations that we have to enter. So that's where Excel really has a lot of power. So we're going to do just a few tutorials on how to use equations in Excel, how to analyze data, and then how to make a simple graph. So we have some data here. Our data is voltage, current, and charge. I forgot to put units on this, so I'm going to add units to each of these cells. So I'm going to click, I want to put a new row above here. So I'm going to right click and click insert. That'll give me a new row. So my voltage is going to have units of volts. My current has units of amps, and my charge has units of C or coulombs. The last cell that I want is power. That has units of watts. The governing equation for power is current times voltage. So I want this column, column D, to be equal to the current column, column B, times the voltage column, column A. So the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to navigate to this cell. I'm going to hit the equals button, and I'm going to click on cells that I want to target. So the current, I want this value here in column D, row 3, to be equal to the current from that neighboring cell. I'm going to click on it. Times, so I'm going to use the little asterisk symbol, that's times in Excel, times the voltage. Then I'm going to hit enter, and that's going to give me the power. I want the next cell to be the same thing, so I could go and do the same thing, equals the current one times the voltage one, and then I could keep doing that. It would be very tedious. So rather than doing that, instead I'm going to use some Excel magic. So I can click this little box in the bottom right and drag down. I could do that, but actually here I have a lot of cells, so I'm going to have a lot of dragging. So rather than waste my time with so much clicking and dragging, I'm going to let Excel do all the thinking for me. I'm going to click on one, and then I'm just going to double click this bottom box. And Excel will magically copy that all the way down. I told you I had a lot of data. All the way down to the very bottom, to the final cell, 1,500 lines down. So it's going to do that for me automatically. Now say I wanted to plot some of this to actually make a graph. The way that you're going to do that up here at the top is go to Insert. And typically there are a number of different types of graphs or charts in Excel. In engineering, we're going to very commonly use the scatter plot. So we're going to do insert, scatter. Typically one of these two on the left are going to be the ones that you use most often. I'm going to use this top scatter plot, and it's going to put a plot like this. I have to tell it what data I actually want. So I can go to right click on the chart and go to select data. And I'm going to have two pieces of data. So I'm going to add a new series or add a new line to my graph. I'm going to call this one power. The x values, so the x on the x-axis is going to be voltage. And I could click and drag all the way down to the bottom. I could also just, here you have the equation. I could type in, if I remember right, it was 1501. So I could type in 1501. I could also just say, I don't know, there are a lot. We could say like, I don't know, a whole bunch, a really big number. And then what it's going to do is go all the way really to the bottom of the page. And just so long as you don't have anything below the data that you actually want to include, it'll include the data that's there, and then there are just blank cells. So Excel is not very picky. We could do the same thing with the Y values. We want this to be the power values, these ones that we just calculated. And I can drag down a little bit. Here and just keep dragging down. I could use some of my hotkeys like Shift and Control. Click OK once I have my data. Let me go back up. I can either click and scroll, or I can, start to get used to hitting Control and the arrow keys. And we can start to see how this chart actually looks. The formatting in Excel is usually pretty bad. So I'm just going to do some basic formatting in the next video.